Hiya, I'm Jasper, and welcome to your video review for Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Spoiler review. If you would like a spoiler-free review, check out my link in the description down below. I did one of those already, so check that out. But this is your spoiler alert for your spoiler review. Alrighty? Okay. So, as always, I'm going to give you the good, the bad, and the furry. There's no furry. Moving on. So, this is a movie starring Benedict Cumberbatch as Doctor Strange, and it's after the snap, and unclear exactly if Shang-Chi has happened already or hasn't happened already, but Benedict Wong is still the Sorcerer Supreme, which, by the way, I forgot. And I love their little banter back and forth. I love Wong. I wish there was more of him, but at the same time, I'm not sure that I agree with all the things that they did with him. So, yeah, it starts off with an attack scene, and then it goes to, you can see that he has different hair, and I'm trying to figure out, have they been gradually adding more and more gray to his sides, or did they just add all of it at once? I don't remember, but I feel like it was much more obvious this time around, not the least of which is because the first Doctor Strange that you see has like two very prominent ones, and then these are just kind of on the side, so, but, his girl, or the girl that he wants to be his, is getting married, and what's funny is that, in my brain I was like, oh, she should be marrying him because he is, Sherlock Holmes, and they had that thing going, and then it wasn't until like a few minutes later that I was like, oh, wait a second, that was Robert Downey Jr.'s, Sherlock Holmes and her character, not Benedict Cumberbatch's, Sherlock Holmes. So I just thought that was kind of funny to be like, oh, yeah, how about that? But anywho, so one of the things that I kind of disagreed with is that, and I'm skipping ahead a bit, but, so she obliterated a whole bunch of the sorcerers, and then, she raises up some that were either just unconscious, or she brought them back. I feel like with how they were laying down and how, like, a whole bunch of people were decimated, I feel like they were supposed to be dead, but then they were like, just kidding, they're alive again, so, alright. But so she's torturing them, and so Benedict Wong is like, fine, I'll show you where the thing is. Like, I don't know, man. Especially because at the end, he was like, hey, you gotta take her powers for the good of everyone. So he's willing to sacrifice her, but then, like, his 5 buddies that are getting tortured, he's like, fine, I'll show you the thing that gives you ultimate power. And it's like, dude, your one sorcerer just sacrificed herself to stab the book, and now you're just gonna give her that power right back. Like, come on, man. Alright, sure. But other than that, I appreciated pretty much every scene that Wong was in because he's funny and he's awesome, and I would totally watch a Wong movie. Like, I totally would. That would be awesome. So maybe in a few years when they eventually kill Doctor Strange, maybe they'll make a Wong movie and call it Sorcerer Supreme or something. Anywho, so I didn't really agree with that. And then also, I felt like Wanda defeated the Avengers of 838 a little bit too easily. So, don't get me wrong, like Captain Carter being able to get sliced in half, like, I kind of buy that, because why hasn't Captain America been sliced in half like that? Like, I get that he's super strong, but I don't know, I'm just, again, the in-universe explanation is that for the last 50 years he has been getting stronger and stronger and stronger, and that's why he doesn't just get sliced in half when fighting with big baddies. But her getting sliced in half, I totally understand, but at the same time, I'm like, I mean, she was an Avenger there, and she just gets like, alright. It was clever how they got rid of the Sonic guy, the Sonic Burst guy, but he's a bit of a glass cannon. Like, but I mean, hey, if Hawkeye, who's not even a glass cannon, he's like a glass arrow? Then sure, I guess this guy could be an Avenger that survived. And then I like to think that maybe the Fantastic Four dude, Mr. Fantastic, isn't actually dead. He's just got to like re-get himself together. But that pop at the end, I'm like, maybe not. What I will say is that, so I was in the theaters watching this, and as soon as Mr. Fantastic appeared on screen, the people were like, oh yeah, oh, and they were like so excited. And what's funny is that what went through my mind is like, oh, John Krasinski, like, I didn't realize he was that popular. Like, he did good in 13 Hours, and, you know, Jim from The Office, sure, and I guess Jack Ryan, so, like, cool that people are excited for him. That's awesome, but, I mean, I'm not that excited for him. But, looking back on it, I think that they were excited because Fantastic Four was being included in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So, you know, now that Disney owns Fox, they can do that. So I think that's what they were actually excited about, but that's not what I was excited about because I like, you know, having him in the... Anywho. So, and then of course Xavier finally gets his like 1994 animated show Yellow Wheelchair, which seemed almost like to be like too close to him in certain areas, but I don't know, maybe there's a story behind that. But along those lines, when I first watched the scene of when Wanda was able to take out Xavier in the mind realm, I was like, really? This is Xavier we're talking about, man. This is Xavier, like the mind guy, the mind mutant. Like, how are you overpowering him? But then I thought about it more, and even just the live action movies, like the dude who had the serum, like the brain serum that was coming out of him that they were using to control the other mutants, that guy was overpowering him. I think Apocalypse overpowered his younger version self. I don't know if they're acknowledging that universe exists here. And then Jean Grey, like, you know, dissolved him after he left his body. But like, so all of these times, or even just in the X-Men universe, that he's struggled and been overpowered. And the fact that Wanda, who I believe got her power, or at least her power up, powering the higher power from the Mind Stone, and like her first thing was doing the mind thing to the Avengers and whatnot. Like she's practiced in the mind realm. So I was like, okay. Now that I think about it, I understand and I can go with that. I also think that their Captain Marvel is not dead. Like, sure, she got, you know, punched or whatever, and the things fell on her. But I think that the power of the stone and what just her like innate power built in would save her and not just have her like die. Like, I think that if we stayed in that universe for a while longer, she'd regain consciousness and like, brah, ready for action. I liked that they included the like, I could do this all day thing of the Captain America / Carter, but I also almost feel like it was misplaced. Like, I feel like on the editing room, I hope they like went back and forth with keeping that in, not keeping that in, because she said that after like half or more of her Avengers team was literally killed, right? Like, that's when she said that, and she's just quipping still. I don't know. It seems a little crass, but I still liked it, so I guess it was good that they kept it in. But yeah, so I thought that was good, and then the explanation for, you know, I'm gonna, at the very end when she's like, I'm gonna keep anybody from doing this, so she destroys the temple on just the one world. I feel like it's a symptom of a movie where they have to solve the movie. They have to like solve the problem in the movie, and they only have a movie length of time. So she finally learns her lesson and destroys just that one tower of evil Black Book power. And for some reason, it destroys all the books in all of the multiverses, according to Strange, from what he saw. That seems a little weird to me, because wouldn't there be that tower of power in all the other universes too? And why does just destroying this one make that happen? Or were all the other towers destroyed in all of the other universes, which seems like a lot of possibilities, and they were destroyed in the Thanos thing, and so hers was the only one around, and so with all of them destroyed, then all the books disappeared? I don't know. But yeah, so that was fine. I did like that when Xavier came on, they had a bit of the X-Men theme going on. I didn't want to say that in my spoiler-free review, but I did appreciate that. That was some good stuff. That was like the best part of the music, in my opinion, the most memorable part of the music. And I appreciated that even though Doctor Strange is in love with his love interest chick, I like that they didn't get together at the end. Like, that kind of their fate, if you will, is for him always to pine over her and never to really get her, because they're not destined to be together, even though he is destined to love her, which I thought was nice. I thought that was, I mean, you know, it's a little heartbreaking for him, but I think that it was a good way to not just fall into all the tropes of like, oh, you're destined to be together. Like, don't get me wrong, like the movie The One with Jet Li, love that movie, spoiler alert for that movie, but I liked that they ended up at the end. But I like in this one that they didn't, because I don't want it to be all like how the Jet Li one was, where, you know, you end up with the girl at the end that you've been pining over. I don't think not all those endings happen that way. And I also appreciate that they didn't go the Loki route of him just finding a different love interest or just the super differences there. I like that there was a little bit more similarities with this rather than the Loki multiverse style. It seemed like they pumped up the book a little bit too much to just have the good book, the book that will give you whatever powers you want, like the Room of Requirement book. I thought they pumped it up a bit too much to just have it like dissolve away. I was like, okay, sure. Also, I almost wanted to say this in the spoiler-free review, but I didn't want to spoil Wanda being the bad guy in this one. But I felt that you didn't need to have watched WandaVision in order to understand Wanda, where she was coming from. I felt like and maybe I'm not the greatest perspective on that because I have seen WandaVision, so I understand. But the thing is that in WandaVision, it wasn't until the very, very end credit scene that she is like doing her little like head thing, like looking at the evil book or whatever. And even from that, I don't know the comic book story, so I was just like, okay, so she's studying for how to bring her fake kids into reality. And in this, again, like the whole WandaVision thing was about her trying to get her kids, and I think that they made it clear enough that like, hey, you had to kill the guy you loved, you made up your kids aren't real. Cool, don't have to watch that 8-episode series. Done. But yeah, this movie was a lot of fun, but, you know, just a couple things of like, I felt that she was a little overpowered to be able to take out all of those Avengers at once. I know that she had the superbook powers at the time, but I still felt like, especially because these were the guys that defeated Thanos, I felt like she was a little overpowered and defeated them a bit too quickly. It was fun to see, because I'm like, there you go. That's what would happen with a Captain America in reality. But yeah, I think she defeated them a bit too quickly. I don't necessarily agree with Wong leading her to the thing. So there was a couple of things that were odd, and then also like it's not at all clear in the movie if taking intergalactic, like America's, you know, the Star Trek, taking her power would kill her. So they sacrificed all of these wizards, all these sorcerers, to try to prevent her from getting the power to move interdimensionally. And I mean, on principle, I totally agree, like, hey, don't give somebody else's power just because they're like, no, I want that. No, but I want it more. Like, that's not how that works. But at the same time, Wanda was an Avenger. She was good, and all that she wants is to go to a universe and take over with kids. So basically, you have at least dozens of sorcerers that are dead to try to prevent her from just possessing and or killing a version of herself in another universe to raise her kids. I don't know, man. That calculus there. And then, you know, the worlds combining and the fact that she killed an entire Avengers team for a universe. Like, you have sacrificed an Avengers, like the Avengers of that universe, you have sacrificed them just to prevent her from being with her kids. That math sometimes doesn't add up, you know? But I do understand how I'm like, okay, well, this is how I can console myself with an in-universe explanation, is that, like, what does power want but more power type of thing? So, sure, she says she just wants to get with her kids, but once she gets with her kids, is she going to be satisfied with that, or is she going to keep on changing things now that she has the ultimate book of power and the interdimensional thing? Like, what other things can she rot? So I get it. But yeah, I did. I like this movie. I love his cape. His cape was hard at work, and I don't know. It's hard for me to decide. I think that part of me is bothered that the Sorcerer Supreme and the other Sorcerer Supreme, Doctor Strange, had such a hard time with the eyeball monster right in the beginning, because it seemed like they were just like when Doctor Strange and Tony were fighting the children of Thanos or whatever, it seemed like having Doctor Strange there was just super, super helpful and was almost OP for these, and it felt almost like they nerfed the sorcerers to highlight how powerful the witch was. So maybe it's just me overthinking things or not remembering that, like, okay, well, they did some tricks, but they were kind of the same tricks, and those don't necessarily work against Wanda or this giant eyeball thing, so maybe that's why. So maybe in my brain, they just were always more powerful. Or maybe I'm just thinking of them compared to the first Avengers, which were just punchy, punchy, kick, kick. And compared to that, a sorcerer is super powerful, but relative to, the powers of the galactic universe, perhaps they're not. Also, the tuning fork guy. Did anybody else think of X-Men First Class with the dude who could, like, use his voice to, like, fly/float or whatever? I felt like they just kind of turned him up to 11 to make tuning fork guy. He was an interesting character, but yeah, still, glass cannon. So, yeah, I'm sure there's a bunch of other things that I meant to talk about with this, but I don't know. I liked it. It's a fun movie when it comes out. Outside of theaters, I'll definitely watch it again. I like that they did the slow-mo. Oh, one last thing is when they did the universe transfer, I thought that they chose the exact right way to do it, which is that, she's going through the universe with him, and it's like boom, 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 just going through these universes fast, 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 to show you just how rapid and crazy the changes are. And then I liked that they slowed it down after a while, so you could really appreciate the different universes that they were in. So I really liked that. I wonder how much they went back and forth about doing the animated one versus anything else. But I'm glad that they decided to keep that in because that was fun. But yeah, that sequence, I thought that they did it really well because they went the fast to the slow, and some other ones have been like all slow or just all fast. So I think that they did the right amount. But at the same time, the different transfers and different styles of universe, we've seen that in several other media things before. So it wasn't terribly groundbreaking, but it was still pretty. So not groundbreaking, but still enjoyable. And that, I think, is important. So it was enjoyable to watch that. It was still creative, and still, it's a Marvel movie, so fantastic CGI throughout. All right. I think that's all I have to say for this one for right now. Let me know if you liked it in the comments down below, or what your favorite part was, or, what the best character was in your opinion, in the comments down below. But that's all I have for this one. Thanks for coming. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you at the next one. Bye.